Hey, what's up? This is Kevin from Kevin's Barbecue Joints, and this one's so great. It's with Chef Johnny Ray Zone from Howlin Ray. We haven't spoken to each other in a while, so we cover a myriad of topics. It starts off on a little bit of a tangent, but we definitely get into all that's going on with their Chinatown location, their Pasadena location, which sounds extremely exciting. It is opening officially, the actual brick and mortar location, sometime in late May or early June, hopefully late May. And we discussed that about 3/4 of the way in, and it just, you're going to be blown away. It just sounds amazing. But there is still a Pasadena location. For most of you, you can order on Postmates for the Chinatown location. The radius is about 7 miles, and then there's the Pasadena location, and that is something that you could order within 7 miles from Postmates. But he also talks about some tips as to how you could order directly from them at either location, which is something that's really cool. And I had heard about this, but I didn't know that was an official thing that you can do. But I really wanted to catch up. I really wanted to see what his mindset was once the pandemic hit and how they did change, or as people say, pivot to this new game plan of delivery and how successful that has been. And it's amazing, but it's not at all unexpected that his retention of employees has not changed at all, and they've actually gained employees. I'll put links below to everything that's going on, but there's also something at the end that he talks about with a location in Mexico, which is extremely interesting. Chef Johnny has always been extremely inspiring. He has an amazing pedigree in the restaurant industry, but this interview, I left it feeling extremely inspired, and I know that you'll be inspired by his passion and his direction and his mindset. So I can't thank Johnny enough for taking the time. He and Amanda have created something very special, and they know it, and they are trying to expand and move forward in the smartest and most logical way. So follow along on their Instagram. That's the best way to see when the Pasadena location is opening up so that you can visit it. If you're enjoying these, please subscribe. I'm doing about 2 of these per week. I have a website at kevinsbbqjoints.com. But at the end, stay safe and visit your local restaurant. Good morning. I guess almost afternoon. How are you doing today?
Good, good.
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's been a long time. How are you feeling? How are you guys doing?
Awesome. I mean, what I learned today was normally like I'll wake up at 6, 7 a.m., right? But I started my day today at 5:25, and bro, like it's the productivity levels are so high. Now it's like 11 and so much stuff has already transpired. I'm kind of getting used to these contractor schedules, meeting the contractors at Arroyo, with the build out that we're doing with that. And I love it, man. I mean, I used to work really late nights as a chef for in fine dining. And so I wouldn't get out of the restaurant until like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. sometimes because we'd be doing clean down.
Yeah.
And now kind of shifting into the role as a business owner and operator and having to wake up and have meetings at 5:30, 6 o'clock as they start their days has been really a huge learning lesson.
Yeah, it's funny because there's all those videos and all those things that people that do where they say get up at 4 in the morning or get up at 5 and you get so much more done. It's quiet and it's just the actual act of getting up early. I get up early, but not at 5 o'clock. But I think that it is something to be said about that, and it is funny how you've learned that as you get older. It's funny. Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. I'm 30 something years old, and it's like the sheer just ability to see the sun coming up in the morning as opposed to the sun's already up. I mean, it's definitely
almost empowering.
Yeah. Like a fresh day. It's a birth of a new, day
That's true.
or whatever.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true. What's funny too is I was thinking about you the other day because as a question I wanted to ask you, because I've worked in restaurants but never in fine dining, but I always remember the end of the day and how there's an emotional feeling because there's so much going on at once, and then it's that cleanup, it's that rush, can you talk a little bit about that? Like, because you missed
100%. Yeah, I already got it. Every day a restaurant is like a baby is born, right? So it's very cyclical. I can't remember which mentor that I had that referred to this, but it is in reference. Every day when you open, it's like the birth of a child, right? And then at the end of the day, it's kind of like the death of the child. It's a cyclical kind of process. The child's lived its life. You've had table 42, table 68, all 200 covers, whatever you want to say, or even if it's 10 covers, it doesn't matter. But it's a cyclical process. And it's also a palindrome. meaning that it starts and ends the same way. It opens up, the guy's mopping the floors. You're breaking down the chairs. You're putting the chairs down. It closes, guys mopping the floors, putting the chairs back up. It's the same start and end process. And a lot of like really good movies and films and TV shows start and end at the same place, you know, and that's the palindrome reference. I first learned this when I was a really young kid. My dad always made me read literature, and Charles Dickens, there was a character his name was Pip. Who's the character named Pip?
I'm so far removed from when I was reading that, but it's Pip is a little kid who what is that? Yeah, it's funny when
Great Expectations.
Great Expectations. Yeah, good. Okay.
It's total barbecue talk. It's so on point. But my dad made me read a lot when I was a kid, and he made me read Great Expectations. And Pip, even the word Pip is a palindrome. PIP is spelled the same way forwards and backwards. But what he stressed to me was that the character starts off and ends in the same place. So not only is his name a palindrome, but the whole novel is a palindrome in itself.
He is too. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I don't know why we're sidetracking on
that.
But
I guess essentially that's what we are too. As we get older, you regress, but you don't regress to that, like that innocent wonder as a baby. It's almost because your memories start to fade, which is kind of like a little bit more of a curse than it is.
You start on 4 feet crawling. You have 2 feet and you're crawling 4, and then you go to 2, and then you go to 3 where you have a cane because you can't, you know what I mean? So it's like you kind of, it is that process for sure. 100%.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. But it's working in a restaurant for people that there's a lot of people, restaurateurs that watch this and people in the industry, but people that haven't, there's a weird, it's an animal unto itself. And it's this excitement and stress and every day is a new day, but also too, people get a chance to be in a structure. I think a lot of people need structure, and it's like that mopping that whole day, and then the day's done and it starts again. It's like, it helps for people that don't want to think about their job when they go home, unless they're
100%. I mean, well, there's so many different things to it. You know, a lot of what I tell my employees is use this platform of a job as a concrete pillar in your life, because a lot of the employees will, especially with COVID, they were dealing with so much shit, so many problems, so many different things, you know, within family structures, people moving, people losing jobs, people. And I told them, you know, use this as a pillar, and it's one of the most consistent things you can have in life, because you know what to expect in terms of its cyclical process, in terms of how cyclical it is. It's not like it's going to be that much different, you know. And I'm not saying this in a negative way of like, oh, it's a boring job, because every day is completely different. But the structure, what you're speaking on, your job roles, your job duties, you know, they remain constant and consistent. What if the customers that come up or the orders that come up are going to be inconsistent, but you know what to kind of expect. So I kind of share that with a lot of the employees, and I've used that in my life as a chef, where, you know, working, you know, 6 days a week, 14 hours a day, like that's been my rock in my life. No matter what's going on personally, I've always had that. And a big part of my success comes with leaning on the pillar of being a chef or a cook or a restaurant operator.
And that kind of that leads us into the question of, how did you feel once you had to, is it almost going on 2 years since people had, or was it April of 2020 when people couldn't walk up and sit at the bar and eat like that? How long have you been closed for dine-in? 2 years?
So yeah, probably about 2 years. And
what was that?
Yeah, in terms of how I feel, I mean, it was upsetting as soon as COVID hits. It's like, okay, do a restaurant, do a really good job, long lines, 2-hour lines, all that stuff, and then it's just ripped away. It's just,
and it was based on that experience too. I kept thinking about someone like
hospitality, customer service, but you know, it took me about a month to figure it out. I kind of pivoted, and we're doing delivery, and you know, I'm actually so grateful that it happened now, looking back, because now I've opened up a ghost kitchen in Pasadena on Allen, and that ghost kitchen is going to parlay into our bigger location that I'm actually building out on Arroyo Parkway. And it's given a opportunity for the underdogs, if you will, to rise up and be able to be managers, be executive sous chefs, be chef de cuisines. And because the pressure was a lot lower, and we're still doing a lot of volume. In fact, we're selling more chicken than we sold before.
I was going to ask that, really. I was thinking maybe.
Yeah. And so it's been a blessing in disguise. And I think that a big thing that I talk to my employees about is, you know, it's not an L in terms of a loss, it's a lesson. And you take what comes your way, whether it's negative or positive, and you deal with it, you know? And so that's been a huge blessing over the past, 2 years for the company and for the employees themselves, because now they're getting paid way more than they would have before if COVID if COVID didn't happen.
And they're able to keep their jobs and still still have a steady.
Most of them I got raises. I mean, like I'm trying to get my top, 5 guys to 6-figure incomes for a fried chicken restaurant with 2 locations. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's inspiring. And that's also something that I've noticed. Your employees flourish underneath you. It seems like, and the times that I was able to sit inside or even sit off to the side and film and take pictures and things, it's so amazing how it seemed like it's stress and there's a lot of stuff going on, but you empower them. You empower them is what that was the word I was looking for. Through all that.
Yeah, no, you would, I think we've been going on 6 weeks now of a shout out to Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee is a speech professor in, I think, Virginia or Maryland or Washington or something like that. Okay. And every Monday on our day off, I do a few hours of speech therapy with the employees. And I hired this doctor, and it is insane because they are learning so much, and now they're able to teach me. The main course of the class is communication skills, learning to read your audience. What type of communicator am I talking with? Identifying that type, and then, communicating with them in an effective manner. Identifying how you communicate, how you say things, how many filler words do you use?
I love this. This is so interesting.
Like all this stuff.
Well, I noticed that when I edit myself. I noticed that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll send you his contact.
Please
He's
do.
Great. And so the point is that with COVID and all that stuff, we've adjusted. Now it's like the guys are growing even more. The team's growing even more. And it's amazing, to be able to explore these different realms as a business owner, as a chef, because you don't really think of communication as super important when you're a chef or an operator. But when you have 30 employees and you have employees that are coming from ground up, like no experience whatsoever, if you can teach them something that is going to affect their lives for the rest of their lives, they're going to value you as a boss and respect you as a boss even more. But also they're gaining more from the job than just money. Yeah,
than just a job. Then that's amazing. You're creating better humans, or you're helping them become the person that they want to be, or that is inside them. That's wow.
Yeah, or even the person that maybe was affected. What I learned in Latin culture, there was a situation with parents and parenting where they would make them read the Bible if they were in trouble. So it'd be like, okay, this kid did something bad at school or something. And then the parents are like, go in your room and read the Bible now. And it did though, for 2 of my guys, it created an issue with literacy and reading and vocabulary where they had a negative connection to reading. And so one of the key points that we've been focusing on is like vocabulary and stuttering, but also trying to communicate too quickly their thoughts, and then the mouth can't keep up and it's not on the same wavelength. And it's very interesting because it not only are we trying to make them the people they want to be, but we're also dialing back to correcting certain previous issues, because as human beings, we all have our issues in terms of what shaped us to who we are today. So
well, this is a lot more intriguing than it's always interesting to talk to you.
Barbecue show, right?
Yeah, no, but also too, I talk to makers, I talk to knife makers, woodworkers, whomever, because I love people who have an artistic mind, but also people that are interested in learning and expanding their horizons, because there's a lot more than just like living in the valley or living in some little, like there's a lot of outside the window. And I really appreciate this so much, because I feel like this is unexpected for people. This is great. This is not
no,
that they,
for sure,
because they would, because they probably like, let's get it. I just want an update, but they now, this is also who you are. I feel like almost like now I'm like not intimidated, but you're a very good communicator now, a lot better than even the last interview that we had. I think that you could tell that your brain is, you're cognizant of this, like you're of how you're expressing yourself. And I think about it, but I'm also very free flow. Like I talk and I try to weave the conversation, but this is great. So now I know you're open Wednesday through Sunday now, right? For both locations. And one of them opens an hour earlier. Did I read that correctly?
Correct. Yeah. Chinatown is open at 10 and then Pasadena is open at 11.
And is the delivery radius still roughly about 5 miles or 8 miles, or what's the?
No, we expanded to about 7.5 miles ish on both locations. And then we even have a great relationship with Postmates where we shifted the delivery radius so it's not overlapping, because instead of it
I see what you're
focusing on the main radius, like if you draw a circle and then
it's been a long time since I've done geometry or even gosh, it shows that it would be nice to know those things now, because we didn't really care about it when we learned it back then. It's funny what you pay attention to or what little things, and if you're not using it, we're not architects. I guess you probably are dealing with architects a lot more than you had in the past too.
Yeah, I mean, the Arroyo location is great because we actually have street signage. We have 40 parking spaces. I mean, we have beer and wine. We have our own bathrooms. We're so excited for
that
it.
That is killer.
And now with kind of California reopening and Los Angeles kind of reopening, especially with like fast, all this stuff, we're really excited to see. We've been very patient, and like you said earlier on the interview, in terms of us like being low key with everything with COVID, it's hard. We didn't want to like over promote. We didn't want to have too many people show up and us have to fill a new job role, which is a bodyguard, a mask bodyguard, a distance bodyguard, all this stuff. And we're like, okay, we're just going to go like this route, and play the long game. And that's what we do. And that's why we've never franchised or never opened up many locations, even with Hot Chicken exploding in Los Angeles. Now
I was going to ask you about
thousands.
How, like when we first talked, it wasn't like that. And that's so, what's your opinion of that? Like, I understand it makes sense, but wow, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of my opinion, I think the world has plenty to give to everyone. And I can't just be the one guy that's like, oh, we were the first to do it in LA. I wasn't even the first to serve Nashville hot chicken. I'm not born in Nashville. I'm not even from Nashville. So
exactly.
I have no issues or nothing. What I like to focus on is I stay in my lane. I'm very hyper focused on motivating, driving, pushing staff, maintaining staff, creating more opportunities for them, and also creating more options for customers and making it easier on our customers. Like now, honestly, you don't have to do it just on Postmates. You can just go to the restaurant. I don't publicize this, but you can just go to we take so many in-person orders. And
Chinatown and Pasadena, or
both locations. Yeah, the Howlin location is just a ghost kitchen, so you kind of have to know about it. But we're not like in your face about it, especially this day and age. Everything's just, it's like, here you this, it's with Instagram, with everything, social media, everything's just, and so we're already doing that. So I could say easily, you could just head to the restaurant, order, we'll take care of you, and you get to interact with our staff, and we're super excited, from that. But this Arroyo location is where I'm going to be kind of promoting a little bit more, and doing a little bit more of what we're known for, which is our hospitality, because I feel like we're a little more known for that than the hot chicken.
Although people like I mentioned that I was talking to you to a couple people, and they're like, I gotta get back for that. Just because it's delicious, it's wonderful. But now, what is you started explaining the Arroyo location? Is it going to be bar seating as well, and then tables? How's the setup?
Yep. So we have booths. We have a pair of like 4 to 6 tops, or 4 to 6 people can sit in these like booth section, and then we have a section where it's 2 tops, and it has one side is a booth and then one side chairs, and then we'll have a little bit of bar seating as well, and then we have beer and wine as well. Wow, and we're so excited because we take a very low end, high end approach to everything that we do. And with our beer and wine selection, it's going to be really cool because you can get really lowbrow, like a Colt 45, or I'm not saying that's going to be on the menu, but just hypothetically or metaphorically speaking, a bottle of beer in a bag, or a high-end craft local brewery, or a cheap champagne, or a Dom Perignon. Like I like that low
I love that.
and highbrow. It speaks to something that I fell in love with in Nashville, which is Arnold's Meat and Three. They're a James Beard Award winning cafeteria. And when I went there, I being an LA kid, I was just so inspired by the fact that you have governors, construction workers, actors, people from the gas station that work at the gas. It was a mix of everybody from all walks of life,
rubbing shoulders.
That was so inspiring. Yeah. And if you've seen our line, pre-COVID, it's exactly the same thing.
It was
like 20 different ethnicities standing in line, and it's like, it's really what speaks volumes for me, what food is. And it really brings people together. It doesn't matter where you're from, how tall you are, how old you are, whatever. And that line for me every day, when I woke up, was such an inspiration because of it being a demographic that is so diverse.
Yeah. And it's so then do you have any inkling as to roughly when you want to open, or do you have I think
we're end of May,
okay, that's not far off.
No, it's not. The contractors are doing a great job. Shout out to Steve and Alex. Like we kind of agreed on Cinco de Mayo as kind of being our kind of time period where we're going to, try and push for. And so, I think end of May, latest June, but it's definitely happening this year, 100%. And, it's balls to the wall right now. I'm just figuring out, this SBA loan and paying for it all and all that stuff. And that's been a fun process. But we're really excited.
Was Pasadena in mind prior to COVID, or was this something that you thought of?
The lease was, so this is why we've been delayed so much, is because the lease was signed. And when COVID hit, we were kind of like maybe 3 months after signing. So we had to go back to the drawing board because as a chef, as an operator, the world's changed. So if I were to say to you, what does a restaurant look like in the future post-COVID? What does it look like? Do you have to space out the tables more? All that stuff changed the whole thing. So we had to go back and change our plans so that it's more of a focus on bathrooms, more of a focus on hand washing, more spacing, things like that. We had to change everything that we worked on prior. But I'm glad that we're taking our time and we didn't just rush it and push it through the pipeline.
Is there outdoor seating too?
Yep. And outdoor speakers, shout out to Sonos. They supplied us the speakers.
But outdoor seating, that's the future of restaurants too.
Our patio is probably going to be one of the most coveted spots because of how we're setting it up with the music, with the aroma. Like I'm treating it like fried chicken Disneyland. So the aroma from the kitchen, we change our oil. It's brand new oil every day. The aroma from the fried chicken and our waffles, the vent is pointed in a specific direction. So the exhaust goes up and it points. So right when you walk up to the restaurant, you smell fried chicken,
just like
waffles. So it's like Disneyland, and then you have the music, and then you have the customer service, and then we have beer and wine, and it's just going to be so exciting and fun. And even if there's like 10 customers a day, I'm going to be so happy.
I'd rather be 10, at least 12, but that sounds really exciting, and that's kind of what you envision a restaurant like yours. And will the Chinatown place, will that open at the same time roughly? Are you planning, or
we're going to keep the Chinatown doing the delivery and the pickup orders, how it's doing, because right now it's very safe, it's very effective, it's very efficient. And I don't want to compromise also our neighbors at Chinatown in terms of people standing in front of their doorway.
That makes sense.
And so I'll push all the volume to a more safe and friendly environment, i.e. Arroyo.
Yeah. Do you have do people know the address? Is that publicized or not?
Yeah, it's 800 South Arroyo Parkway.
Okay.
It's right off the 110 historical route. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a historic building that had some history with like the Nat King Cole family, where the owners of the property were these white people that owned a milk farm. And Nat King Cole was trying to move to Hancock Park, and they were part of a group that did not want him to move to Hancock Park because they wanted to keep the neighborhood white. And so when I discovered that sign, I was like, let's rip that shit off, like take it down. A lot of people wanted to keep it. And I was like, okay, the city said they want to keep it. I said, if we're going to keep it, I'm going to put a Nat King Cole mural out of respect to his family. And I reached out to the Nat King Cole estate, and they trust us. They know our brand, and they said whatever, kind of design we want to do. And it's something that for me, rest in peace to my father, he would be very proud of, because he was always, into that type of music, into the old school kind of, feel of everything. I still remember him buying the cassette tapes and putting those in the thing and winding the cassette tapes, with your finger.
Yes. Because it would sometimes, it would come out.
The wire, and you're like, what the fuck? And so sit there and do that.
The first time I listened to NWA was on a cassette tape. I was thinking about that the other day.
It's funny, for Valentine's Day, I got my wife a rotary phone. So it's an old school phone. It's a rotary thing. And her sister has a little nephew or a kid that's like 12 years old. And I was like, hey, dial Amanda, call Amanda. And he looked at the phone and he's like, how?
Isn't that crazy? What color is the phone?
Yeah. It's orange. Bright orange. Yeah.
It's always close by or something. Are you going to attach it? Are you going to make it so that it actually works?
I mean, I can grab it if you want to. Here, I'll grab it. I'll show you.
I would love to see it. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I was having issues, so I'm actually taking it. I'm taking it to a place.
I love it. I'm a sucker for this. Oh, that's so. I haven't even held one in my hand in a long time. It's got. Does it have a little bit? Yeah, cool. That's. You're the first person that's actually done something. That's here.
See how it. It's amazing, man.
I think even people that have used them in the past, it would take a little bit of a learning curve just to remember how.
Oh yeah, I mean,
imagine having to dial. Yeah, nowadays you just press a button. But it's amazing that and then people too, like you'd have your phone hanging on the wall, and then you could only go a certain amount of distance because of the cord.
Because of the cord, exactly. And it's stretched.
The really cool people would get like,
or even the girls that are doing this thing. Yeah,
that's true. Oh, that's awesome. That's a cool gift. Did she appreciate it the way you expected she would? Or
definitely, I got a lot of enjoyment when I called it. So the reason I have it down my car is I'm actually getting, it wasn't dialing, so I have to test it on a main line because I'm using a VoIP data. So it's converting LTE to hardwired phone, and so there's some issue with it. So I got to go test it to see if it's the phone issue or the VoIP. But I got so excited when I heard it ring, like the because it's got bells.
Yeah, underneath.
It's got bells in it. Yeah, inside. And when it's like,
is it like a hammer that hits the two bells?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like
I remember opening one up.
I got so happy. It instantly, and this is what food can do. It instantly transported me to another time when I was a kid, and my mom, would pick up the phone or hear the phone ringing, and it was like
it triggers those emotions,
the senses.
And that's why when you're pumping out the smells, and a lot of people don't think about a restaurant in all the different aspects, all the different ways that you can, like, visually it should be wonderful, the food should taste great, but also your sense of smell is so important. And that's what's so sad too with people that have gotten COVID, that have lost their sense of taste or smell. That's like I think a lot of restaurant owners have too, and that's imagine not being able to taste your food ever again. Or
that's crazy.
That would be awful. That's just crazy. Is there so the Chinatown location, roughly around 7 mile radius from a center point, with this, so that'll still be delivery only. In May-ish, the location in Pasadena will open up. So then when do you come to the San Fernando Valley? By that time, I'll probably be gone. No, you guys kind of thinking, like, you were thinking a little bit possibly to do San Fernando Valley for a ghost kitchen, weren't you, or something?
Yeah, but honestly, like, the staff is so happy, the customers are pretty happy, and also hot chicken is getting oversaturated a little bit, in my opinion. And so, I'm a big fan of Kendrick Lamar, and a big reason why, if he drops a song or he drops an album and it hits, is because he only drops it every once in a while. And also there's so much thought put into it. And so both Amanda, myself, and Howlin Ray's, it's very special to us. So if we had the opportunity to take a deal like what Dave's did, with franchising. Yeah. Actually, the same guys approached us, and we told them no for 2 years, and we still, it's not.
Were you considering the West Side too? Wasn't that something like you were going to do?
We're looking at it, but
at one point I thought it was something it makes sense
really
what you're saying to not.
It depends on the staff. If the staff, they're already growing so much right now, we can do 2, potentially 3. If the staff can get up to speed, luckily for me, like I have had no labor issues, like labor shortages or anything like that. And that's been a huge thing on the contracting side. It's been a huge thing on the restaurant side, where labor issues are difficult, like they're having trouble just finding people. There's help on signs everywhere. Luckily for me, and I want to keep it this way, we take care of our staff and they value their jobs. So if I were to open up more, then I would need another 20 people, and it's like right now we're so focused on doing what we do and doing it really good and giving it our all. And especially with Arroyo being like our kind of, quinceañera or whatever, like coming out party, where we're like, okay, now we can engage and talk and, give hospitality and show people love and treat them like family. We're so focused and dialed in on that. And also we're going to open a restaurant in Mexico, so, I mean, like, that's what we're so focused on.
You're like, oh, by the way, I'm opening a restaurant in Mexico too. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You are? Yeah. That's the same concept or a different
Howlin Ray's out there.
Really?
Yeah.
Where in Mexico?
It's very LA. It's Monterrey, Mexico.
Oh, Monterrey, yeah. When I used to, in the past life, I used to sell furniture with my dad when he was alive, and we had a furniture manufacturer. He was in Otay Mesa, but he was from Monterey, and he said Monterey, and he said always corrected me, and he said that there's a burrito that he would get, there was a certain burrito or the smell of a certain tortilla that was specific to Monterey. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah. That's the only reference I have to Monterey. Oh, is there a reason why Monterey? Because that's something
we've been speaking to a gentleman that has a few restaurants out there and has a tequila company, and he's just been, a lot of people approach us all the time.
Oh, right? I'm sure it's like incessant. Yeah.
Yeah. But we've maintained contact and he's just a great family man and a great business owner. And I think that it's going to be a great opportunity for our staff to be flying back and forth there, and also a great opportunity for us to create a supply chain within the company. So I've had a prep cook that's worked with me. Shout out to Lionel for, I guess 9 years now. And I think he's from El Salvador, but he's still learning his English, but like, he's an amazing man. And I want to give him a cut of a company. So he's a jefe, he's a patron. He's going to be an owner. And so I'm going to start a spice company with him that supplies Mexico. And he's part owner in that, and it's like,
great.
Yeah. And that goes back to, like, just like the speech class, it's like giving back kind of thing. So I saw it as a huge way for the staff to benefit, but also the city of Mexico, or not the city of Mexico, the city of Monterey in Mexico, it would benefit as well, because part of the contract and how I negotiated it was, giving back to community, providing jobs, and, creating this cultural. It's going to be completely different than the Howlin here, but it's still going to be Howlin Ray's, and it's going to embody, that hospitality and everything. And so it's just another thing, that's very exciting for us, to just grow the company. Very specific guidelines where it's not just your typical franchise or license. It's really a relation. It's between, two family members basically, and so we're really excited for that, because that's why we take a long time in terms of expansion and us doing expansion, but that one's definitely really exciting. And then for me to be able to affect someone's life like Lionel,
that's
worked
huge.
with me for so long, then now he's an owner in this, because like part of it is controlling the supply chain. Like, we sell the spices, or a separate ABC company sells the spices to them, and then he owns that. And it's like, coming from where he came from, he came over here with a backpack, and
so
it's just insane. Yeah.
Yeah. So meaningful. And what you're doing here, uplifting people, you're going to be doing that in Mexico too. That's
100%.
It's the same. And if you go past 3, 4, 5, 6, like, it becomes watered down and it becomes hard to navigate.
100%.
You've seen restaurants when they've expanded too quickly, and it's obviously you're going about it the proper way. And sounds like you like to have a lot of stuff, like things going on like constantly.
Oh yeah. I mean,
that's
how do you
important
keep people
to keep
inspired and motivated
Yeah.
and driven, you know? And for me, like our kind of, with Amanda and myself, our kind of, trajectory is like to be a brand like Gucci, right? Is it where you have a London, you have a, New York, LA, this, and there's like 5 or 6, and that's it. Time is on our side. And it's very important because all those franchise guys, they tell me, catch it while it's hot. You gotta ride the lightning while it's hot and all this. But I would rather create something that when I die, like for example, Arroyo Parkway, this restaurant that I'm building right now, when I die, it's gonna stay open. I believe, because when I die, most of my stuff goes to the employees, because I don't have a huge family and like brothers or all this stuff. It's going to be around, you know what I mean? And that's the legacy that I left to the city of LA or the city of Pasadena. And that's something for me that's very important, instead of 20 locations and then they all close because of blah, 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 or they get sold. What happens on the franchise model is you only get your money when you sell your shares. So, when you have 20 units operating, they're selling blah, 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 and you sell your shares to whomever it is, some dude in Wisconsin or whatever, and that's how you make your money. But I'd rather have a small family owned. What I have right now is what I'd rather have. And that's why we never went that route.
Yeah. And it's the word pivot has been thrown around a lot since the pandemic started, but you have pivoted essentially to the correct, like it took you some time to probably step back and look at this, but this delivery structure it seems to really work really well for you guys. And I've only heard.
Well, we're actually doing like 70% pickup orders now.
Oh, really? Oh,
before it was only delivery. Yeah. So like you can go on the app and you can select pickup and then just go, and what we do to maintain the freshness is, once you arrive, then we make it for you. And we have a very quick turnaround time. Or if you don't want to download the app and you're like, no downloading apps, just go to the store and we'll take care of you.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that. And I apologize for not knowing that.
No, we keep it low key, because if we promoted that, then too many people would show up and there'd be lines and stuff like that. And we don't want to deal with that right now.
This has really been inspiring, Johnny. Thanks, Chef, for taking the time. I didn't realize that this was a route to go down, but I'm so pleasantly surprised, because this is something that, I hope this inspires other people, and I hope other people, potential restaurateurs, because it's not an easy business, but if you can uplift other people and make them better people, or the better version of themselves, it's really, really inspiring. And I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you guys, I was worried as soon as the pandemic for a lot of my friends who have restaurants, but then I was worried for you guys, because a lot of it was that experience and the amount to go. You guys had a lot of orders in the morning when I came. It was packed, but it wasn't as much to go. It was people eating there or eating right outside, or like the lineup was very important. So I was curious as to how this would turn out.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, we're really excited for the future. We're really excited, even just for me to go ahead. I'm about to head to Chinatown. I'm really excited just to go down there. We just changed some vinyl graphics in the front. I mean, it's been great. And even through the pandemic, a lot of restaurateurs have suffered. And I kind of sent out a few messages on my Instagram at Johnny Ray Zone. And if anybody needs anything, feel free to reach out or send me a DM or an email or whatnot. And I'll gladly take the time out of my day to respond or provide advice. And I've been doing that in the pandemic and trying to help out as many people as I can. Like even Hotville, like Greg Doolin from Doolin's, they were reaching out to me for advice and stuff like that. And it's great. And they serve hot chicken, I'll help them because that's a family business. That's part of the family. You know what I mean? But if anyone needs anything, feel free to reach out. I'd gladly help, with whatever.
Well, thank you. Thanks for making the time, and have a great day. And I can't wait for Pasadena. I'm sure you're really excited for that. And for the future. 100%. So is the Mexico thing, if people probably will wonder, is that probably a next year type of thing, or is that?
Most likely. It's probably about a year trajectory. We're finalizing all the legalities now and stuff. That they can go quick, but Rome wasn't built in a day, and we want to really do it right. And we're not in a rush. Make time work for you, as opposed to trying to
catch up.
Yeah, exactly.
And they follow your Instagram. that's the best way to. And Howlin Ray's Pasadena has a separate Instagram. I'll put all that below, but you cross promote both. Like you'll cross promote the Pasadena, but there are two different Instagrams to follow if people want to.
Yeah. If they want to, like they're separate giveaways. We'll do giveaways just for one, and they can kind of interact and stuff.
Yeah, that's fun. That's kind of what you do. You're not blasting people with 5 posts a day. It's kind of a that kind of goes with your logic on how you deal with stuff. So it goes back to the rotary phone. Exactly. That's what it does.
There you go. Right there. Boom.
See, full circle. It's Pip.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, have a great day, Johnny. I appreciate this.
Appreciate you, Kevin.